Since we've been playing golf, we've noticed golf's an expensive sport, so limiting variables that aren't necessarily mandatory for the sport has been something I've been thinking about a lot. We started buying used golf balls and stopped using drivers so we don't have to use as many tees, but the last thing we come to in the list is the golf glove. Now, when I started golfing, the question was why wear a glove at all? I didn't really understand its function, but as soon as we had one hot summer day where my hands were sweaty and I lost the golf club, I immediately realized that it was going to be something that I wanted to think about moving forward. But the question was, which golf glove should I use? It's clear that they're not all made equal, but what's the actual difference? Well, of course, just like the balls, they have premier golf clubs as well. And so in this video, we're going to try to answer the question, is buying a premium golf glove worth your time and money? Does it actually help? And is it different than your average cheaper glove? We're also going to be reviewing the Cuater, I think that's how you say it, by TravisMathew, the premier golf glove. As you see on the screen, there's a lot of different options. These are all sold at Dick's Sporting Goods, ranging from $30 all the way up to $40 with a lot of colors, shapes, and sizes. And I'm thinking, this type of glove is probably more about appearances than anything. So this is why I wanted to pick this one up. A lot of people would probably miss on this, but they do have the standard simple white that I purchased and I've been using for the better part of about 6 to 7 weeks now. Prior to this, I just been buying the cheapest golf gloves I can find. So I was buying the FootJoy Weather Soft, which comes in a 2-pack for only $23. So this single glove is $7 more than 2 of those gloves. And again, I do think a lot of the pricing on this is that they're looking to sell to a more flamboyant purchaser. I might be wasting some money on that front, but it got my head thinking like, man, I wonder if there's something here that people aren't seeing. This seemed like the right glove to try. But before we make any conclusions on it, I'd love to hear what glove you guys use. Do you use what might be considered a premium glove? And do you notice the difference? Do you think it's worth buying one? And would you say that compared to a cheaper glove, it has actually helped your game? We're going to try to answer all those questions. But the first thing we're going to start with is why I've been frustrated buying golf gloves in general. And what would make me turn to a glove like this in the first place? The thing about the gloves I had been purchasing is they feel like quite thick and they're not really very comfortable. Now, about a year ago, I talked to somebody who told me that the golf glove's purpose was there only to help you grip the club. And it shouldn't be comfortable. It should be tight enough that you are not happy that it's on. You notice it. It's like a second skin on your hand. And as soon as you strike the ball, you take it off. So I always thought like, okay, well, that's how this kind of feels. It's very kind of cumbersome and it's protecting my hand, but it's also helping me grip the club. But those gloves specifically were wearing out very fast. I'd probably have to buy 4 per year, if I remember correctly, maybe even more. The big problem I had was sweat. The gloves were so thick that they would also exacerbate any temperature issues I had with my hand. And even sometimes if I did take it off immediately after the strike, it would still be enough to get my hand sweating inside the glove. And there'd be this kind of like outer ring of sweat layer on the glove itself that you can see kind of forming over a long period of time. So after a few months of that, not only would the glove feel different on the inside, but it would kind of get a little smelly. And you could tell it was just wearing down on top of the actual wear on the outside. But the outside was ultimately the issue. And the spots where I would obviously put the most contact between my hand and the glove were places that were wearing out significantly. I never really had like holes in gloves. Like you ever see other people make golf videos, sometimes you'll see people wear gloves and they literally have holes in them. And it always made me wonder like, is the golf glove even really that important? And I'm still out to lunch on that. But I will say immediately that after probably about 7 weeks of playing with this, I played probably about 15 times, most of them only being 9 holes. I think I've only played like 4 or 5 18-hole rounds so far though. This glove is showing no signs of wear. Really, the only thing I see when looking at it here is it's just a bit dirty. The thumb is getting a little thin, but I feel like the middle of the glove is a lot more important, and that seems to be holding up very well. Compared to the other gloves I used to use, it certainly looks a lot better in the state it's in. Now, of course, it's only April at the time of recording this. A lot of the problems I have are going to come in July and onward, so we'll have to see where that glove is at that point. But I do have to say, I'm really shocked at how good of condition the glove is still in, even after a few weeks of using it pretty heavily. And that's kind of what I expect. Like, I think I would have not only been unhappy, but I'd be really dissatisfied with the purchase if the glove wore out for that price. Like, I assume that the premium glove model is also meant to be more high quality on top of a better feel glove. Like, when you think about that same thing in golf balls, you certainly wouldn't expect to buy a dozen of Pro Vs and have them get cut up with every wedge shot you take and lose 6 of them to damage like that. So it should be the same thing thing with the glove, but I'm not sure yet because I have asked other people about the different types of gloves they've used, and they say that, you know, the more expensive glove didn't really wear out any slower. So it makes me wonder, is it this glove specifically? I honestly think like if I just bought the black one, you wouldn't even be able to tell it's worn at all. It looks good too. Like it's not just in good shape in terms of like physically, but it's also in good shape visually as well. So I admit there's still concerns about durability that will come in the future. So if you want my updated opinion, just leave a comment on this video whenever you're watching it, and I'll tell you what state it's in or perhaps how long it lasted me. But now that we're past that, I think the next thing I want to really make sure I hammer home here is just how comfortable this glove is. I will say I bought a medium, and the other glove I was buying medium large. Originally I was wearing large. Like I worked as a dental assistant for a long time, and I always needed to use large gloves for those types of gloves. So I figured large gloves for golf would be perfect too. But then I learned that, you know, it should be tighter. It should be a much more snug fit. So I started buying the medium large, and I think medium in that glove would have probably been perfect. This glove though, a medium, is actually still kind of big. It feels very similar to the medium large, and I have to tighten it pretty securely to make it feel like it's as snug as I would expect. So I'd be cautious to use small because I do feel like I have very large hands, but I might have to try that out. So just something to be warned about. Perhaps this glove does run a bit big. I'm not sure. Regardless, it is night and day. I cannot believe how good it feels. I love having it on my hand, and I don't exactly know, you know, what the real difference is there. Like I've heard the word cabretta leather, but like so many gloves try to throw that word out there that I'm not really sure what it even refers to. All I know is it is significantly more comfortable than what I had been wearing in just about every other glove I had ever tried, not just the one that we had used prior. And I assume that's pretty common for a $30+ glove. That's the point of it after all. It's probably mostly about comfort. Feeling good, obviously, on the hand will help you be more comfortable with the club in your hand, and I will say that that has absolutely happened. I feel like I don't have to worry about my grip pressure nearly as much as I did with the prior glove. I think the big problem I had was that glove was so thick, so it kind of felt like I wasn't really gripping the club properly a lot of times. And this one is much thinner. I can really feel my fingers like almost interacting with kind of the grooves on the grip on the club as well. So that's been really satisfactory so far. Although I will say that the old gloves weren't like super uncomfortable until pretty late into their use life. That was always how I could tell they were wearing out, because I would start to really feel my fingers kind of interacting with the club, meaning that part of the glove was kind of wearing thin and it was becoming a lot less comfortable. A lot of the gloves that I had used were kind of like sewn together almost like haphazardly, it felt like, so you'd often feel that as well. But this glove feels like it's almost entirely one piece. Like there's no kind of seams or anything like that inside the glove that makes you feel it. There's a little bit on the outside of some of the fingers, but where your hand meets the club, nothing like that going on. And I always thought, like, you know, those FootJoys, like they have like this little kind of dark gray insert into the palm area, and I was like, oh, that's probably really good for helping you grip the club. This one is just straight. The material is just there for the entire glove, and I would not say there's anything different about the actual grip I have. If anything, because it's so comfortable, it feels a lot more natural, but I don't think this part really matters too much. Like I highly doubt there's going to be a glove that's a lot grippier than another glove. So it's been durable. It feels great. I love the way it helps me grip the club, but is it worth it? And that's kind of the question that I just don't know if I have an answer to be honest, because everybody has a different priority with money. Do you want to spend 30, maybe 40, maybe even more on a single glove? I think the answer for most people is going to be no, but I will tell you, I am glad I bought it, because man, it has really opened my eyes to this type of glove and this quality of glove. I never would have expected like the big difference in feel. I guess I'm not really sure what I expected, but yeah, I mean, that's probably what you're paying for, and honestly, I think it's worth it for me. I might continue buying these gloves. I'm not sure I'll buy this brand again. The brand that I bought is seemingly a little bit more targeted towards, you know, the visuals of the glove, and just buying a standard white glove seems like you're leaving money on the table there. But I'd love to hear some of the competitors out there and what you guys think are quality, perhaps pricier, but really good gloves. They have so many gloves, like it's just like golf balls. There's a million to try, and I don't want to spend like thousands of dollars trying them all. So, you know, if I only played one glove for the rest of my life, would it be this one? I think ultimately the question is going to be like, what does this look like in July? If it's still just as comfortable, you know, 4 months in instead of 2 months in, what's it going to be like? I think it's very possible that I'll still be using it throughout the rest of the season. And a tip I got was that you should also be storing these things in the original packaging they come in. I'm not exactly sure why you would do that, but certainly like leaving them outdoors, leaving them in the sun for too long probably really compromises the leather, the quality, and maybe the feel as well. You know, we've yet to see what it's like when it gets a little sweaty, but I think taking them on and off and storing them somewhere that's pretty neutral, like no temperature dependency, will probably help its longevity. But I did not do that because I wanted to compare this glove to all the other gloves I've ever used, and I did not even think about that as an option. So maybe moving forward, that's what I'll do. But I think certainly if you're looking for a glove that's going to make you stand out, that's certainly going to make your left hand look different from every other golfer out there, this TravisMathew brand has a lot of different options. They have a lot of really crazy colors and designs, and it seems like they don't stop. They're keeping new ones coming out all the time. It seems like they have a lot of other products too, like actual clothing. So it's pretty interesting. But for a pure white glove, you know, $30 does seem like a lot, but I think that's fine. More than that would be a bit questionable in my eyes, but overall, so far, I am very happy, actually. Surprisingly so. I really didn't expect this to be this enjoyable. It's just made golfing feel like a lot more comfortable and a lot more possible to do for a long time. Like, I was having a lot of discomfort with my hands over the first few years of golfing, and I don't know how much of that is the grip and how much of that is the glove itself, but it does feel like I'm on the right track now. So I hope this helped. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, I read and reply to every single comment. And again, if you are somebody watching this, like maybe even a year from now, feel free to leave a comment and I will reply to you with whatever state the glove is in or what state it ultimately finished its lifespan in. I love doing stuff like that because I feel like, you know, I can't really expect to play golf for a whole year and wait to do that review, but the YouTube comment section does allow me to continue to add updates even many months after publishing. So thank you for watching. We will see you guys in the next one.